How's it going, everyone? It is me, Stateside, here with a new video. We're going to be looking at my Premier League award winners. We're going to look at a few different categories here. We're going to look at our unsung hero, our overrated player, our underachiever, our best newcomer that's not Haaland, our biggest surprise, our biggest redemption, best bargain, one to watch, breakthrough talent. We're also going to be looking at 9 of those for managers as well. And then, obviously, our 4 primary awards: player of the season, signing of the season, young player of the season, and manager of the season. So we're going to start it off, of course, with the kind of the basic ones: player of the season, signing of the season, young player of the season, and manager of the season. Starting off player of the season, it's got to be Erling Haaland. There's really, who else are you going to pick, realistically? Who else were we going to pick here? It's got to be Haaland. He's been outstanding. He's been putting the ball in the back of the net with ease throughout this season. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that pick right there, but we're going to move along to signing of the season. That is not Haaland. Let me clarify. The signing of the season will not include Haaland in the options. It's got to be Zinchenko for me. Zinchenko has completely revitalized Arsenal's midfield, offered options there. Obviously, we're going through a rebuild in the midfield as well. I think he'll stick around and play that inverted role for us that he's been playing. Been excellent this season and definitely more to show next year. Been an excellent signing. It completely changed the game when he's in the team versus when he's out of it. Completely gives a different dynamic to Arsenal that teams just have struggled to handle this season. As for the young player of the season, obviously I'm not including Haaland. I'm not picking him as my player of the season, young player of the season. I'm going to go with Bukayo Saka. He's been outstanding, and you can't really tell me anybody else that deserves to be in that conversation other than Bukayo Saka. If you're not including Haaland, of course. Obviously, I know this is recorded after the award's been announced for Haaland. I know he's got picked, but my young player of the season, going to be Bukayo Saka. As for my manager of the season, I'm going to go with Eddie Howe. I think I want to pick Arteta. I know Arteta's been a great manager for Arsenal this season, completely turned things around. Same for, obviously, Pep winning the league. You've got Gary O'Neill keeping Bournemouth up. You've got Unai Emery coming in, a relegation side, and getting them, I think he got them Conference League. You could go De Zerbi. You could go a few options there, and I'm going to go Eddie Howe. I think just turning around that Newcastle side. I'm giving him some credit for this award from last season as well. But, I mean, on paper, that team's still not a Champions League side, in my opinion, and he's done an excellent job of getting them that position. As for the other awards, we're going to start off with the unsung hero player. I'm going with Lewis Dunk of Brighton. I mean, how many times you hear Caicedo get mentioned, you hear Matoma get mentioned, you hear McAllister get mentioned, you hear Enciso get mentioned, you hear Solly March get mentioned, you hear Pascal Gross get mentioned. You don't hear Lewis Dunk's name. He's like the 9th, 10th player for that starting lineup that you're going to talk about when you're talking about that Brighton squad. That is why he's the unsung hero for Brighton this season. One of the best center backs on the ball this season. A lot of it has to do with the system that De Zerbi's implemented, but he's been outstanding at adjusting. It takes a great player to adjust to that new style mid-season, no preseason to do that. Absolutely outstanding from Lewis Dunk this season. As for a manager, I'm going to go with Julian Lopetegui, and this isn't so much by fans. I think a lot of fans respect him. I think a lot of other teams respect him. I know Wolves fans probably respect him, but I don't think Wolves ownership respects him. And the fact that they're not able to get him a good transfer window here this summer is really going to show a lot about how underappreciated he is by the Wolves front office and ownership. And I just think that he's going to be one player that just kind of, a manager that just kind of gets ignored. And it does get annoyed because he is ignored. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's move on to our overrated player and manager. And starting off, Alexis McAllister is so overrated. Alexis McAllister has scored 10 goals this season for Brighton, 6 of which are penalties. That's not great. I think he's completely overrated. I don't think Liverpool should be spending this money. If they want to spend the money, that's fine. I'll watch them spend the money. It's not my money, and it's not my team, so I couldn't care less. But he is so overrated. It's embarrassing, really, that a player that scored 4 goals of open play, 6 penalties. I mean, is he going to be your penalty specialist? I don't see. I know goals don't matter for midfield as much as, everything else that's involved. I just think he's a bit overrated. I think his goal scoring and passing ability is a bit overrated. I think he's a solid player. I think he's a good player. I just think that he's not the player that everyone thinks that he is. And that's kind of where my position lies, and that's why he's in the name overrated. As for manager, I think this one's a pretty easy one. Another Brighton shout, Graham Potter. I thought he was a good manager prior to. I personally overrated him as a manager, and he's proven everyone wrong about how good he actually is. And it's not good. That's the problem. And for me, Potter's got to be the most overrated manager of the year. I don't think there's much else to say about that. Underachiever player and manager, I'm going to start off with Heung-min Son. I can't think of his stats off the top of my head. It just hasn't been great for Heung-min Son this season. Just not the numbers that he would like to put up, and not the numbers that Tottenham need him to put up if they want to play in Europe, which they're not doing next year. So there's not too much to say about Heung-min Son being an underachiever this season. Just not the numbers he wants, and not the numbers he, as a player, expects, and us as fans, as neutrals, or as Tottenham fans expect of him. As for the manager, I think this one's a pretty easy conversation as well. Jurgen Klopp, I mean, massively underachieved as a team. Liverpool this season, just players didn't seem like Klopp's usually one of those managers you see him bring in a player. Mo Salah was really good at Roma, but he came to the Premier League and became unstoppable. Alisson, another one from Roma, excellent player, became unstoppable in goalkeeper. Virgil van Dijk, another one, was very, very good. And then he just became another level under Jurgen Klopp. And we haven't seen that with a lot of players this season from Liverpool. Obviously, like Darwin Núñez, I expected big things from Darwin Núñez. I thought Darwin Núñez was going to be one of the highest scorers in the league just because of Jurgen Klopp as a manager. And so I didn't see that, and that's why he's one of my underachievers this season. Best newcomer to the Premier League outside of Holland, got to be Casemiro. Player-wise, I think he's done excellent in that midfield for Manchester United, and there's not too much to say about that. If he can get the yellow cards and the red cards down, he would have probably been one of the DM Team of the Season candidates for me personally, but because of his yellows and reds, he's not in that list for me. As for the manager, it's pretty simple. De Zerbi, excellent manager. There's really not too much else to say about De Zerbi. I mean, everybody's seen how good Brighton's been this season. 6th place, European spot after losing their manager halfway through the season. That's insane. Biggest surprise this season for me, I'm going to go Callum Wilson. There's a few options I looked at here, but Callum Wilson, he's been very good. I thought he was going to be the backup striker behind Isak. He's ended up just keeping the striker role and forcing Isak to play out wide, and that's pretty special from a player that I thought was past it. I didn't think was a Champions League level striker, and I mean, Callum Wilson has done an excellent job staying in this Newcastle squad. As for the biggest surprise of a manager, Marco Silva. Nobody expected Fulham to have the season they've had. I think I picked them to stay up. I can't remember. I reacted to my Premier League predictions not long ago, but I can't for the life of me remember if I had them up or down. But I know I had them low in the table at the minimum. And they may have been 18th for me, but I didn't expect them to have the season. And I was surprised by how well Marco Silva's managed this team because there's not too many upgrades they made. They brought in Willian. They brought in João Palhinha, which was a good signing. João Palhinha, I knew that was going to be a good signing. But I can't think of too many other signings. They made Bernd Leno came in as well. And Marco Silva's just done an excellent job keeping them up. Not just keeping them up, but having a go. I mean, he said it, I think, in one of his interviews that we're just going to go at teams. And they did an excellent job doing that. As for the redemption story, we're going to have 2 Arsenal links here. The first one, Granit Xhaka, who's more than likely going to be out the door here pretty soon. I think his redemption over the last 2 seasons has been excellent at Arsenal. And he's just, I'm gonna hate to see him go. I'm going to hate to see him no longer wearing Arsenal colors. And I wish him all of the best, of course, in the future of his career. And the other manager is Unai Emery. Unai Emery had a falling out in the Premier League, took this job of relegation battling Aston Villa, and he went and he got them into Europe, which is unbelievably impressive. I think didn't even have a crazy January window. I think only player I can think of is Alex Moreno that he brought in, and Alex Moreno is the signing they needed at that left back position. The signing of Alex Moreno alone completely changed the style of Aston Villa, the play, completely reorganized their team to exactly what Unai Emery wanted, and it's been an excellent turnaround and redemption arc for him as a manager. As for the best bargain, I got to go again to Brighton options. Got to be Matoma. I mean, he's been an excellent pickup for them. here. Mitoma's been unbelievable. And De Zerbi again, I mean, just they brought money in from letting Potter go, and then they upgraded. They upgraded on their manager. That's something you don't see often in situations like that, where a player leaves and our manager leaves, and then the team's able to get the upgrade to him. And ones to watch, player and manager, I'm going to go with Levi Colwill as my one to watch player. I think he'll be on the move this summer. Brighton want him back. We'll have to see what happens in that saga, but I definitely think he belongs in a Premier League team where he can get first team minutes, because he deserves first team minutes in the Premier League. And I know Chelsea not able to give that. They got Fofana, Thiago Silva, Badiashile. They have a ton of center back options. That Colwill may not get the minutes he wants. They also have Reece James and Ben Chilwell, if you even thought about playing him as a fullback, and they're not going to. But Colwill should be on the move this summer if he wants to continue the trajectory of his career. As for the ones to watch, I'm going to go manager. I'm going to go with Marco Silva. I think he could be on the move. I thought maybe he could be on the move to Tottenham, but it seems like they're getting Ange Postecoglou from Celtic, and then Breakthrough Talent and Ciso, again, another Brighton option. And the manager, I'm going with Erik ten Hag. I think he's come through, and he's done a really good job at Manchester United. Obviously didn't win the FA Cup, but I do think that no matter how much it pains me to say this, Man United are on the up, whether I like to say that or not. But I do think that Manchester United are on the up under Erik ten Hag, and so that's kind of why I picked him as my breakthrough talent as a manager. Obviously, he's had the reputation with Ajax, but in the Premier League, nobody was sure if he'd be able to do it in the Premier League, and I think he's proven he can. But anyways, guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like down below and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.